Everything should be rule-based in your trading. Consistency can only come from doing things consistently. Whimsically deciding randomly this trade doing this and another trade doing that is impossible to get consistent performance from that. All right, so everything has to be rule-based, and you should be able to map out a trading plan on a single piece of paper that's no longer than 10 bullet points. I believe that 10 lines, your trading plan should basically consist of 10 bullet points or 10 lines. You should be able to put that on one small piece of paper. Because if your trading plan is you're flipping pages to go through your trading plan, you've gone way off the deep end. This game is not that complex. All right. You are the complex one. The market's the simple one. All right. You bring the complexity to the market. The market's simple. It's got 3 directions: up, down, sideways. All right. That's a rudimentary, and it's neutral, meaning that it doesn't do something different for you than it does for me. So that's the tool in our toolbox, like a hammer or a saw. The market's a neutral tool. It's whose hands is the tool in that makes all the difference in the world. So you bring the complexity. All right. But so if your plan is overly complex, you're lost already. It should be a very basic 10 bullet point plan that covers these categories. Identifying what events do you identify as trades? Do you know how many traders don't know that? Like I asked them, okay, so explain to me one of your buys. What's an actual buy that if this occurs, you don't have to think, you just hit the buy button? And most traders can't even tell me what their buy is. And they said, oh, I buy when I think it's going to start going up. Like, that's not a plan. What? When you think it's going to go, when I think it's going to go up, Oliver. I think, would you give your money to someone would you give your family's savings to someone who says, I think it's going to go up, right? You can't trade like that, right? You got to know this is a buy. When this happens, I don't think, I don't doubt, I don't hesitate. I don't call up the psychic hotline to determine, to get some advice. I just hit the freaking buy button every single time this happens. And you should have at least 4 of those. So what do you identify as buys? You should have at least 4. All right. You should, part of your plan should be a stop plan, your maximum loss per day, your maximum loss per trade. You should have an add plan. There is no big trader ever that has ever walked this earth that does not add to their winning plays. Not one. And if you don't have an add component to your trading plan, you will never be a big trader, ever, ever. It's impossible. Every big trader knows when to add and by how much. And sometimes there is no add and sometimes there is, but you've got to know that. And that's got to be mapped out in your plan. I add under these 2 scenarios. What are those 2 scenarios? All right. My traders have 2 add scenarios. When any of those add scenarios happen, boom, no thinking, no doubting, no guessing, no wondering, no let me check and verify. It's boom, hit the buy button. You understand? And you should have, I know how to identify my opportunities. I know my maximum loss amounts. I know when to add to every winning play. All right. I know exactly when to add and by how much. I know I have 3 ways that I take a profit. I take a profit under these 3 scenarios. And if it's not one of these 3 scenarios, I sit on my freaking hands. All right. And you should know how to adjust your risk. All right. So your initial stop doesn't stay. Excuse me. Your initial stop doesn't stay your initial stop throughout the whole trade. So when do you adjust that? And by how much? And those are the components of a trade. How many of you know all the components of a trade? Probably very few of you. And if you don't know how to break the components of a trade down, how to break a trade down into its components, then you can't know how to map out a trading plan, because a trading plan is dealing with each one of those components properly. And so there are millions upon millions of traders that are just randomly throwing money around in the markets. And that's what creates the markets. That's where my profitability comes from. That's where the profitability of some of my traders come from. It comes from the random group out there just throwing money around because they think it's going to go up, right? I think that's their trading plan. This is it. This is how it looks. This is how a lot of your trading plans look. I think that's it. And you can't think your way to great trading. It's just not going to happen. It's 3 times easier to accentuate what you're good at than to fix what you're bad at. Now, you always have to keep losses contained, but sometimes just not doing what you're bad at fixes a whole lot, guys. And I see a bunch of traders just working on what they're bad at. And I say, well, why would you waste time on that? Tell me what you're good at, and let's throw that energy into what you're good at, and let's forget what you're bad at. I get traders that struggle with a stock, right? So I ask a bunch of traders, what's your favorite stock to trade? And you know what? Half of them, whatever group I ask, half of them, their favorite stock is the stock they lose the most money in. Like, really? Like, how does that make sense? And half of that group doesn't even know that that's the stock that they lose the most money in. So I have my traders run a report. We run a report periodically that is P&L by symbol. And I want them to be aware of which symbol, which stock is delivering the biggest gains for you in the greatest consistency, and which stock is delivering the biggest losses and the most frequent losses. And so let's eliminate the bottom and let's accentuate the top. Whatever trade you were dedicating to the losing symbol, throw that effort and that money into the top. Sometimes, guys, a fix is just as simple as stop doing it. All right, Oliver, I have this excruciating pain in my head. Every single time I bang my head up against the wall. So what's your advice for me? Stop that. Don't do that. And you'd be surprised how many times that's the answer in your trading. Oliver, I'm losing every single time. Oliver, I know your elephant bar concept. I lose almost every single time that I do the elephant bar concept. Okay, don't do that. That's the one not for you. It's not the only thing. All right. And so sometimes it's just stop it. That's the answer to a lot. Stop. Don't do that. Stop trading that stop. Oliver, every single time I add 3 times, I lose the biggest. Stop adding 3 times. Every time I trade this stock, I don't know what it is, man. It's like it doesn't like me. Stop trading that stock. Every time I do elephant bars, stop trading elephant bars. And then you get to what you should accentuate, right? It's true, man. Most of the time when a trader is asking me a question about something, they're seeking a solution. The solution is in the question. Oliver, you teach us how to buy climactic drops off the bottom. You teach us that strategy, the climactic buy strategy. It's picking that moment you have that climax down and then whip back to the upside. You teach us how to catch that. I just lose with it all the time. Don't do that one. That's not for you right now. We can come back to it later, but right, the solution is in their question. Stop it.